My name is Sonia, and I am so thankful that I get to share with you on this side of the Copper Canyon experience. A team just recently returned, and I'm so thankful I was able to be a part of that. Since coming to CA, I've heard all about the Copper Canyon, but there's nothing like seeing it firsthand. Actually, it is quite incredible once you're there to think that this was barren land before. A simple river, and teams would hike all the way down, pitch tents, in order to start what God was calling them to come into, and that is that He would be made known in various ways. One of the highlights for me was being able to sit down with our partner Sandra and Augustin. Sandra is one of our partners who has moved down to the Copper Canyon with her family to spread the gospel throughout various communities there. And Augustin is one of the people from Navachique that Sandra and the whole church was praying for. Although he would hear as people were talking about Jesus and coming to visit, his heart was very cold. It was hard for him to survive without alcohol. And although he heard about God, he was so resistant. He said, "No, that's not for me. I'm not letting go of this." Now, in a whole series of events, it ended up that Sandra had invited him to come to church. There was this event coming that they asked for Augustin's help. But what happened is the event actually ended up being changed, and it became a prayer service. And it was in that prayer service that the Holy Spirit met with Augustin in such a powerful way that Augustin gave his life to Jesus that night. And not only is that exciting enough to share with you, but even more so, Augustin was the last person of Navachique to come to know Jesus. This whole community and village has now come to know the Lord. And it was such a beautiful experience to go and see it firsthand. See where before there was no church, just land, maybe some wood poles, and now to see an actual building and us to enter in and be with them, gathering, worshiping the Lord together. So special. And what I love about this is that Augustin not only just came to know Jesus, he couldn't stop sharing about Jesus. In his work for construction, he was working one day with a man named Gustavo. And Gustavo wasn't a Christian, but every day that they worked together, Augustin would share with him about Jesus and the transformative work that was happening in his life. Augustin had completely stopped drinking, no short of a miracle. And through that interaction, Gustavo comes and gives his life to Jesus. And again, that wasn't enough. Gustavo had this heart and passion that his village and his community would also be able to experience Jesus. But Gustavo lived in Sativo, a 3-hour hike from Navachique and about a 5-hour hike from Wakaivo. And it's a community in the middle of nowhere. And as Gustavo was sharing this with Augustin and Sandra agreed, yes, we need to go and help. And she told Gustavo, we can come once a month. And I love the tenacity of Gustavo for his people in his village. And he said, once a month is not enough. We need to figure out a way to do this weekly. And because of that, that was impressed on Sandra's heart. And now Sandra and her husband Manuel and their family travel to Sativo every single Sunday so that people can know Jesus. What a gift to see how the Holy Spirit moves, but also the obedience of each person to carry the peace that God has called us to. And it's really hard to see some of these spaces, to see the desolate areas, the conditions in what they live in. But I love what one of our team members said. They may not have what we think that they should have, and yet in a sense, they have everything. They have found Jesus. And not only have they found Jesus, they have found a heart for their people to come and know him. And this is what we get to be a part of, to saying yes to what the Holy Spirit would want to continue doing in and through this partnership so that others could know Jesus. And so thank you for being a part of this. And if you get a chance to go, I'm telling you, head to the Copper Canyon. There's so much there that the Lord's doing. And if he's calling you, please say yes. And just dare to be amazed at what he has for each and every one of you.